Welcome to Legally Everywhere, where we are what?
It's the hot commodity. It's the tradable element that's really driving this conversation in ways I don't think that people are understanding. And that in itself is somewhat dangerous when you're not informed that you should be informed. That becomes a vulnerability, which then becomes leverage for someone else. Okay? So we're going to mirror some of the structural setup of the Venezuela presentation. If you haven't seen that, go ahead, check that playlist out. But once again, this is completely separate. You can watch and start from right here and be totally fine because this is just Greenland. But I will make some comparisons here and there because there's certainly a relationship. Okay? Now we're going to jump into the history. That's why I had to pull my notes out. Baby, when I tell you, this history is very, very long. Okay, so Europe involvement in Greenland literally goes back over 1,000 years, right? So you can see right here on the slide I put in the year, right, 986, right? And so in 986, Viking settlers arrived and began the Europe settlement, right? So I'm going to go on the screen and show you that's kind of putting us, come on, mouse. Don't play with me. Okay, so that puts us in this time frame, okay? And what gets really interesting is Greenland later became a part of Norway. And then control transferred to Denmark when Denmark and Norway unified under one monarch, okay? So under the crown, right? And this is where I'm telling y'all, we got to get into these receipts. It's so interesting when you think about how power is moving, right? So the control over this island, this entity, this body, right? This country, usually referred to as an island, possession of it, ownership, moved with the crown, right? Okay. These shifts, I just wanted to point out how significant, these shifts weren't because Greenland said, hey, I'm consenting to being a part of this other union or this other body or this other country, this other nation, because I feel like I want to be there or because I feel supported in said space, right? It wasn't them choosing what happened. It happened because the crowns themselves kind of merged. And Greenland itself at that time was treated like transferable property. Long before this geopolitical stuff started happening that we see in modern day, right? Even back then, here, right here, even right here. You see this? Boom, boom, boom. Even during this time frame and this era, this finite but still rather expensive time frame, they're transferred like property.